Good evening, everyone. It's so good to have you all on this call. My name is Bilikis, Yisa, and I'll be the moderator for tonight's call. So before we get into the discussion proper, I would like to hear what our expectation is for tonight, especially those that will be applying for the NHEF program next year. What are you expecting on this call? What are your expectations from this meeting tonight? So if any, okay, I can see Nazio hands up. Okay, you can unmute yourself and share with us your expectation for tonight.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My expectation, right? I expect like the roadmap for the NHEF Scholar Program for the 2026 sets. Like, how are we going to go through and go about it? What do we need? How to go about it? What to do, what not to do, and thus the rest. Thank you.
That's very great, and I'm sure that by the end of this call, you will have answer to all your questions and your expectation will be met. Okay, we have Ismail also raising up his hand. You can go ahead, Ismail.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So, um, after this program, I hope to know like what other schools like Unilag do better than us in EMU that make them have higher number of people that get NHEF scholars and NHEF in the NHEF program every year, so that we can do better and by God's will, we can even get the number of students in our school in the next cohorts. Thank you.
That's also great. And I'm very sure by the end of this call, we are going to get tips from our scholars on how to meet up with the numbers of students from ABU. So the next person I'll be calling is Abdullah. Abdullah, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sani. My name is Abdullah Sani. I'm a law student. Well, basically, my expectation is to know everything about NHEF, right from the application and interview, especially the, what is it called, the tests. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. The last person I'll be asking that has his hands raised up is Sheriff. Sheriff, you can unmute your mic and share with us what your expectations are.
All right, good evening, everybody. So basically, my expectation today is to get tips from these scholars, because from the calibers of speakers we have, these are not just scholars, they are wonderful scholars. So I want to get their insight basically on it. I've read a lot on NHA, but I just want to hear from them basically how they were able to do it to become the 1% of the 1%, actually. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm very sure you will get your answers to that. Okay, the very last person will be having to tell us about their expectation is Amina. After Amina, will go into the call proper. So Amina, you can
Alright.
unmute your mic.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Hi. I'm in Bello from Ahmadu Bello University. and what I expect from this session is to literally know everything concerning the application process. I'm really interested to know about everything so that I won't make any mistakes when going for my application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Your expectations are well noted, and I'm sure all the scholars on this call have the answers to your expectation. And by the end of this call, every one of you will be clarified on how to go about the NHEF program application. So going forward, we'll be going on to the introduction, and our introduction will start with our latest scholars. So can you use your online ends to give our latest scholars a round of applause, please? Please celebrate them now. It's not easy to be a scholar. Oh. Celebrate them. Okay, thank you. So our very first scholar I'll be mentioning is Esther Istifanus. Please, can you introduce yourself, Esther?
Okay, so can you all hear me, please? Can you
Yes,
confirm that
I
you can
can.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Esther Istifanus, and I am a 400 level student of Economics Department. Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome on the call, Esther. So on to the next NHEF Scholar Year 25. We'll be inviting Dolapo to introduce herself. Dolapo, you have the floor.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Bukola Ilemede D. I'm a 400 level student of accounting. I'm at Bello University. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much, the Investment Society, for the privilege.
It's so good to have you on this call, and we thank you for accepting our invite. So to our, okay, I'll call it the alumni scholars. We have Shakirat on the call with us. Shakirat, please can you introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, TIS members. So I'm Shakira. Confirm if you can hear me, please.
Yes, I can.
So I'm Shakira, NHEF Scholar 2024 cohort, and it's nice to be on this call. You guys are doing well.
Okay, thank you very much, Shakirat, for being on this call with us to have this conversation with us. Okay, the next person I'll be calling on is Joy. Joy, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Kindly confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Good evening, and I'm so happy to be with you all. Oh, pleasure to be here, and it's wonderful to meet you all virtually. I'm Joy Adejoh, an alumni scholar 2024 NHEF Scholar. Yeah, we're doing a lot together tonight.
Okay, thank you very much, Joy. It's so good to have you. Okay, we'll be moving to if sorry, Nazir, can you mute your mic? We'll be introducing our next scholar, which is I'm very sure most of us know this guy. Okay, don't let me introduce him. He will introduce himself. We have Abdulwahab on the call. Abdulwahab, you're welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Kindly confirm if you can hear me, please.
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you. You are too good that we cannot hear.
Yeah, so, well, I am Abdulwahab Lukman, 2024 NHF Scholar, and currently I work with the funds management team at Sankore Investment.
Thank you, Abdulwahab, for that introduction. We still have a scholar that will join us very soon. So in order not to waste our time, sorry, I'll be on the call in a moment. Okay, so moving forward, we'll talk about, we want the scholars to give us a brief about the NHEF program. And the first person that will give us a brief on this will be Joy. So Joy, can you please explain to us what NHEF is about? NHEF program, yes, we always hear it. It's an annual program for students. So can you just brief us on what NHEF program is about? Thank you.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I know first off we are all here to know about what exactly the readiness for the NHEF Scholars Program. And first off, I would like to interpret what the word NHEF means. It means Nigeria Higher Education Foundation. It's a program for scholars from the 6 different federal university currently in Nigeria. We are currently working with 6 federal universities. That's BUK, that's Bayero University, ABU, Unilag, UHI, UNN, and which one am I missing? UHI, University of Ibadan. So those are the 6 universities that the NHEF Scholars Program is picking scholars from at the moment. And it's a program for brilliant people. It's a program for scholars. As you all know, you're a scholar. You are a scholar. You just need to understand that. You need to put that at the back of your mind. And this program was set to create exposure for students to be exposed to things like, for you to meet up, it serves as a link to the industry itself, for you to understand what's going on in the industry, to bridge the gap between what you are learning in the classroom and what it's working out there, how the world out there look like. School has already painted a picture in our mind, and we don't really know what exactly is going out there. But with the NHEF Scholars Program, you can get to know what is happening in the world out there. So that is one of the major aims of the NHEF Scholars Program, is to bring together brilliant minds and to enforce them to be greater leaders of tomorrow. There are a lot of things to read about this online. You can always go to the NHEF website and read a lot about it. You can go to their LinkedIn page and read a lot. But I just want you to understand that the NHEF Scholars Program is for everyone. It's for you. You are a scholar and you are 1% of the 1%. So NHEF Scholars Program is for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy, for that insight. So, as as ABU students, we should know that, okay, this program is for everyone. And she mentioned that the program is just for 6 schools. That is, ABU is among these 6 privileged schools, and that's a very wonderful thing for us. And it's a great opportunity for us to explore and use everything that we have to make sure that we are in for this program. So I would like Abdulwahab to also give us a brief introduction on what NH program is about. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Bilikis. So I like to keep things very simple, right? So I'll just, and for tonight, I'll be kind of very straightforward with a lot of things. So if you go on the website, so there are a lot of things that you would see, right? So they will tell you that NHF, as the name actually implies, that they are just for building the youth that would eventually come to become the leaders of tomorrow. So, well, I will just tell you what is not on the website, right? So, so the program is one of the best things that could happen to any one of you. in uni, right? So because they are simply going to catalyze, what your career trajectory or journey would be. So so first things first, it's one of the most competitive undergraduate programs in the country, like one of the most competitive programs. And year in, year out, the competition increases, as the cohort increases. So I know during our set, that was 2024, 1,100 people applied, and they only chose 100. So that's just simply telling you that for every one person that got in, 11 people were sacrificed. Like 11 people couldn't get in because of that one scholar. So last year, that's 2025, almost 1,400 people. Sorry, this year rather, 1,400 people applied. So and they are still going to. They accepted only 100 people. So and trust me, for 2026, the numbers are going to even be more crazier, because a lot of people are getting to know about the benefit that comes with it. So now again, what is it that you should know that is also not on the website is that the NHF are very, very big on diversity. So if you are a lady or a female, you have a very, very, very high chance of getting in. So I know during our time they did 42 to 58. That was the ratio. So for 2025, it should be more, I guess. So I mean, simply, if you are a female, you should stand, and in fact, better chance of getting in. So that is why you should also kind of do what it is required of you, so that you are able to be competitive when the application eventually opens next year, January or February. So well, another thing you should know about the NHF is that they would make you taste a life that most of you have never tasted ever, right? They have money and they will just erase manage from your vocabulary. So they will lodge you in a 5-star hotel. For you that are in AB or BUK, they will fly you. They will pay for your flight to and fro, lodge you in a 5-star hotel, feed you like mad. You are going to enjoy for that 1 week orientation that you are going to go and do in Lagos. You are able to also connect with very, very competitive, like-minded and very experienced guys from over the top schools in Nigeria. So imagine meeting the best of the best from Unilag, from Ibadan, from UNN, and from Port Harcourt, right? So it kind of also gives you that network that would eventually make your movement in the industry kind of seamless. So, and most importantly, career-wise, that's one of the best things that could happen to anyone. So securing internships with big firms is often a very, very difficult thing, no matter how competitive you feel you are. So for NHF, they have partner companies that they help scholars secure internships. So for people on the call, people who have interned with FSDH, Kuramo, big firms, Sankore and the likes. So, and most importantly, the support they give is lifelong, right? So it doesn't just end at, say, internship. So even if you are unable to secure an internship at B, you even secure an internship, the support they will give you is lifelong. So imagine you getting a full-time role or a graduate trainee job even before you finish school, simply because you belong to a community that partner with firms. And you see, the honest truth is that most HRs or companies generally don't trust just rolling out application to say they want to interview everyone or assess everyone and then give job, because it's expensive for them. And often what universities nowadays even turn out is not really what they expect. So for most institutions, for most organizations, they kind of just prefer to go and hire from places they trust. So NHF has created that kind of brand for themselves. So there are a lot of organizations that don't even roll out their applications like for the public to apply. They just simply go to the NHF and they are like, look, we are looking for this and that. We want to have your scholars apply. So the opportunities are endless, but I think for now I've just touched on some that you probably will not find on their website, and I think I'll stop here for now.
Thank you very much, Abdulwahab, for that insight and the way you actually break it down for us to understand some of the big things in this NHEF program. So, in order to add to what Abdulwahab said, I would like to call on Shakira to also share with us perks in applying for NHEF Scholars Program. I know Abdulwahab has said a lot of things, but I would just want Shakira to give one or two additional information also.
So confirm you can hear me, please.
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much, Bilikis. Thank you. And thank you, the Investment Society, for actually having this program at the earliest, because this is actually a very nice initiative. So, banking on what Joy and Abdul have said, NHEF is actually one of the best things that can happen to you as a student when as an undergraduate, right? So the opportunity that NHEF presents is very big, like very big. Yes, like Abdulwahab said, it's currently with Sankore, and me too. We're actually together with Sankore, and this opportunity we got it through NHEF, and it was only available to NHEF scholars. Now, like he said, companies are wary of who they want to like employ, right? It's very hard for companies to just it's costly for them, and there's no guarantee that the person they're actually getting is who they can actually trust. So they need a community, they need an organization that's like a community that have students that are 1% of the 1%. So NHEF has presented themselves as this organization, and they have the community of the students. Now, as a student, right, if you get into NHEF, sincerely, your life trajectory is going to like change, your career trajectory, everything is going to like just tilt in the positive side, because especially we that we are from North, we are already short changed compared to our counterparts in West here, especially Unilag UI. And these are the students that you are still going to compete with during the interview, the essay writing and everything. So if a Lagos student from Lagos is putting in twice the effort, you as a student from ABU, you are supposed to like multiply that effort. I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying. If a Lagos student is writing one page, write one and a half, because the Lagos student they already have the advantage that they are in Lagos. It's not as costly as it's going to be for NHEF for them to pick 50 students in ABU compared to when they pick like 50 students in Unilag or UI. That's just me giving you guys the basis. So just know that the amount of students are going to pick in Northern and Eastern University is going to be very low compared to what they are picking in West. So if you want to be among those that are going to get picked, you have to put in twice as more effort as those guys that are picking in Unilag. So and once you get into NHEF, sincerely, for that 1 week, you are really, really going to enjoy. Like they're introducing you to a life like the life is okay. Oh, let me give you a snapshot, right? So you wake up in the morning, you have your breakfast is ready. Then once you eat your breakfast, they transport you to wherever it is we are having a session. During our time it was Landmark, and I believe that was the same place they used for this 2025 cohort. So when you're at Landmark, after different trainings, different classes, you get to eat lunch, and it's not just anyhow lunch, like lunch. Then after lunch, you still resume back to your training. Then close, you went back home, you went back to your 5-star hotel. Like when I say 5-star hotel, I mean 5-star hotel. Oh God, I want to relive the moment, but it's not possible. I'm going to work towards that. So you get to eat dinner, and that's how the that's the cycle for the whole week. Then you get to have fun. I think maybe the fourth day they organize party. They're just introducing you guys to how it is in the corporate world. Like you are working, you are enjoying, and you are living. So the work-life balance, NHEF kind of introduced us to that. Like if you are working, you should also find time for yourself to enjoy. So NHF, God, NHF is everything. So I just want to say, if you guys want to, if when you guys don't even want to, you guys must apply. When you guys are applying, please put in maximum effort. Be serious with it. When you start, finish it. Don't just say, the essay is too much, this, that. Don't give yourself any excuses. The moment you start having excuses, that's when you start just slipping back, like, okay, I cannot do it, I'm not enough. Once you tell yourself that, I'm telling you, you won't even push through with your application. So you guys just put in the effort and sincerely. Once you get the results, you are going to forget the stress you went through. So that's just it for me.
Wow, thank you very much, Shakira. Hope you guys are taking notes. Hope you are taking notes. 200 level student, 300 level student. Hope you are taking notes because this program is actually it. Like you don't want to miss this program. So while we were on the call, our last speaker also joined the call in person of Tijani. Tijani, please can you introduce yourself?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me before I go further. Thank you.
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you so much for that. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bilikis, once again. My name is Lawal Tijani, and I'm an NHEF Scholar 2024 course. Thank you.
You're welcome on the call. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so as we move forward, I would like to ask this question, and this question will be going to Tijani. Tijani, please, can you share with us what you think? NHEF program, it has different teams for different year, what they are looking out for. So, can you please share with us what really stand out for you in your application process?
All right, thank you so much for the question, Bilkis. So what really stood out for me in my application process, I'll start by saying I tried as much to make sure I got myself familiarized with NHF from a very long time. Let's say I joined 2024 course, but then I started paying attention to everything about the program right from 2023. I can remember back then we were working on our CFA research report, and then NHF application was on. Even while them Gimba and some sort of some senior colleagues, sorry, were already in for the program. Going on LinkedIn, seeing the impressive testimonials that were coming from scholars who were on for the 2023 program. Everything just kept bubbling my head, and I was like, no, I have to be a part of this program. I have to do this. I have to do that. So by virtue of that, I started putting in series of preparation. I started doing some sort of research that what does this program really want. First, I reached out to several scholars. Okay, how did you get in? What does the program really want? What's the way to go? What do they want? So I was enlightening about the whole stuff, the essays, how to structure my essays, my CV, what my CV should look like, my cover letter and stuff like that. So from there, I began the journey from there and into 2024. Before 2024, I could remember I had already gathered several articles from the past scholars. I'd gathered, samples of CVs. I'd gathered series of cover letters that I was able to use to craft my own. And from there, I think during our time there was a new invention, and that was when they started the aptitude test thing. For me, I knew quite well that once application gets to the aptitude test area, I usually flood around that side. But then I said to myself, knowing fully well what NHF presents, I said to myself that moment I was not going to let anything stop me from going. So thanks to Nancy, then Nancy provided us with some dragnet materials that we use for preparing for abstract reasoning, logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, and everything like that. So we're able to do that, and along the line, for me, the whole process became easy and simple. Submitted my application. I was invited for the first test, and after then the first and the second stage interview, and finally getting into the program. So for me, uh, just to make it easy, one thing that actually made my getting into the program a very easy one for me was I tried as much to familiarize myself with the program earlier before the main time. And one of the things that I did was, there wasn't even a session like this back then, but then I reached out to scholars. I got resources that I knew I was going to be needed for every time. I was always on, NHEF's website. I was looking out on LinkedIn and, just various means for me to get information. And that was just one of the ways I was able to get around the whole stuff. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, it does because you talk about you are an NHEF scholar for 24, but you started your preparation since 23. So for our to be NHEF scholar 26, your preparation starts now, like now. So if you need people to reach out to, these people are available for you, and I'm sure they are very open to interact with for them to give you any information that you need. So, in order to add to what Janet said, I would like to hear from Dolapo. Dolapo, please, can you please share with us what you think stands out for you in your application process?
Okay, good evening, everyone, once again. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So just like Tijani said, for me, I actually didn't like follow up early with the whole thing. I got to know about it like okay, in 2025. So I got to know about it in maybe 2024 December ending. Get so there was not even so much time to research, and then I didn't even know I was going to apply for it. But one thing I knew was that if I set my mind to apply for something, trust me, I'm going to apply till the end. And then when I discovered that there was actually so many aces, like you have to write. Don't be scared. I know some of you are already afraid hearing aces. Like, don't worry. It's those aces will just make you expressive. They'll make you think like critically, okay, what do I actually want for myself? Because at the end of the day, when you get to the interview stage, they are going to test you on those things. Do you understand? So you actually have to write the truth. You can't use ChatGPT for this one. So I didn't know I was actually going to apply. But then I started asking questions. I met 2019 scholars. I was like, what's this thing about? And then we're like, oh more, your life will change. I'm like, you don't mean it. So I was really excited, right? I wanted my life to change. Like who doesn't want their life to change? So I applied, right? It said going on gradually. I sent out my essays for them to review. They reviewed it. They corrected me in some areas. Like I even felt like I didn't have what it takes. Don't be scared. You actually have what it takes. Once you're feeling like you don't actually have what it takes, that's to tell you that you actually it's normal. It's very healthy to feel that way. You get because if you're feeling like okay, yes, NHEF scholar, I am eligible, like I meet up in every way. If you're feeling that way, that means NHEF scholar is not big enough for you. I don't know whether you understand. But then if you're feeling like okay, I don't have what it takes, that means it's a bigger thing. And then you have to get there. So I was feeling like, okay, I didn't have what it takes because I felt like there were not so much experience in my CV and the rest. But then I got that push to just keep going. And then one thing about the whole AC was that the little things I was doing actually, it helped me to magnify it. So it was now looking like a very big thing. For example, I volunteer with a girl child. So with a girl child organization, right? So we do a lot of things around girl. So he said something like supporting SDG, that's Sustainable Development Goal 5. You get so once they see big stuffs like that, it's how you put yourself out there that really matters. I don't know whether you understand. So in the AC part, you have to package, right? Package yourself the right way. Don't just write I once in a while we used to go to package yourself the right way. That's what they want to see. So again, then we move to the test, right? The aptitude test. Okay, I was a bit scared at that point because I just felt like that's the point I used to miss out in many scholarships. So it's either network is doing me somehow or just something like that. So I prepared for it though. I prepared very well for it. They sent some very difficult questions, but then the questions we got as the questions for the aptitude test were actually a bit more easier. So, but then don't relent. Actually, prepare very well. Don't even give excuse. Like, don't give a chance. I don't know how to say it, but don't give the devil a chance to make you feel relaxed, not to prepare well for it. Like, prepare very well. Then moving to the interview stage, your first interview. I don't want to start calling names of possible interviewers, but then just keep in mind that you're going to meet Mr. Juwon in either your first interview or your second interview. And then Okay, I don't want to talk about my whole interview experience, but then my first interview went very smoothly. Like, I even asked the lady, she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry because she called very late." So she apologized and everything went fine. I even asked her, "Oh, wow, you have a dog?" She was like, "Yeah, she loves puppies." I'm like, "Oh, me too. I love puppies." Like, it was very friendly. But the second interview was not like that, too. It was like fire, fire, such that I tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I just kept thinking, am I even useful in this life? Like, it will hit you hard. So just prepare for it. And trust me, I pray that everyone here gets in. That's my sincere prayer for you guys. But if you don't get in, don't be scared. There's something that interview does to you. Like, it prepares you for the worst scenario in life. I don't know, especially if Mr. Juwon interviews you. Like, you just, in fact, you begin to think, your goals will begin to align, your passion will begin to come together. Okay, what do I really want for my life? Safe. You get, that was the way I felt like after he interviewed me, because he was like, "Are you even sure you know what you want for your life?" And then don't be scared at that point when you hear that question. Say it confidently. "Yes, I know what I want." That's just what he wants to see. And funny enough, just the same way we are speaking to you without you guys seeing our faces, that's the same way your interview would be. But in this case, um he'll be seeing your face, so he gets to see your reaction, he gets to see if you're scared and the rest. So prepare well. It's not hard. Just put yourself out there, just be optimistic, and you get it. And one thing I would say is that, as much as possible, even much later, when we get to resume, like, have interactive sessions with scholars, like, speak to them. Like, that helps you in fueling your passion, because the more you hear about it, the more excited you are, and then you can communicate that excitement when you're applying, so they will even get to see that, this person is really looking forward to this, you get. So I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Those were
Thank
the
you very
things.
much, Dolapo, for walking us through that whole process like it. So
Thank you
I'm
so
saying it
much.
again, NHEF Scholars 22B26, get yourself prepared. You have to face that fears. Even like when your mates are like, "Oh, why are you writing this essays? Why is it so long?" Just know that, okay, you have a goal to achieve and put all your best in it. So now where we are going to is like the requirements to have in this application process. The Dolapo talked about like having something and doing something. So I would want Joy to first of all share with us some of the requirements that you think that, okay, right now you have to gather all these things, you have to gather this experience if you know you want to apply for the NHEF scholars. Joy, kindly share with us, please.
Okay, so thank you so much, Bilikis. And yeah, thank you, Dolapo and past speakers that have spoken. Thank you for walking us through. I could relate to all of this. So now to us, if you will love, and I know for you being on this call, you are so much interested in applying for the NHEF 26, that's 2026 Scholars Program. So yeah, the things I feel and I believe you should prepare, like you should prepare for. First of all, I will start by explaining like sharing a bit of my story. um, I knew about NHEF just like Tijani spoke earlier. I knew about NHEF from 2023. So from 2023, when I knew about NHEF, all about me, like everything I do, became so conscious of the fact that I want to go for NHEF Scholars Program. So first off, I'm not a first class student. So first off, I had that belief that NHEF Scholars Program was for first class students, because I believe it's for top people, it's for people that are currently on 4.5 something, 4.6 something. And I was nowhere near to that. As at that time, I was on 3.8 something. Yes, I was on 3.8. Then the first push for me was that I wanted to push my CGPA to be 4 point something. And yes, I achieved that. I actually pushed my CGPA to 4 point something before going for NHEF Scholars Program. So that was the first push. I had that intention. NHEF Scholars Program will not just only consider your other areas of your life, but it will also consider your academics. They say school is scam, but let's be true to ourselves. School is not scam in this aspect. I understand there are a lot of second class lower students. We've heard of second class lower students that made it to the NHEF Scholars Program. Yes, it's happened. But you need to understand that school is not scam in this particular aspect. If you need to build on, oh sorry, you can't build on anything right now. We have written our last our second semester exam, so it's just to expect the result and pray for the best. So first off is your academics. Your academics need to be on point. You need to be on point academically. Then next, you have to develop leadership experiences, leadership skills. You have to at least be able to lead people, ability to package the experiences that you have. Maybe you have once led a team for group assignments. It is something we are students, and the NHEF Scholars Program understand perfectly that we are all students. So those little things, those minute things that you think you did back then, and you are feeling like it's not something, just as Dolako spoke about that the other time, they are something. You can bring them together. It's the way you package things, it's the way people see it. Something can be so small to you and minute, but when you package it and you tell others, or you tell someone about those things that you've done, how you're able to coordinate, your ability to coordinate people, your ability to lead people, to make people innovative. When you tell someone about it, it can make someone interested in you. So you have to develop leadership skills. It's very important. If from now till when the application opens, start thinking of, okay, what can I lead? At least you need to have something on your CV, not the one that there are some people that apply for. Sorry, I'm using TIS as an example for now. And when you get to review their CV, you see there's nothing on the CV, just a student of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. You have to start working to bring things on your CV. As you know, you are competing with people from other schools. Take Unilag, for example, a lot of students that are doing a lot of things. There are people during our course, we had people that intern with World Bank. So imagine being in competition with people like that. So you have to up your game. Your leadership experience is very important. And yes, volunteering too. You have to be able to volunteer. Volunteering is important. I remember joining plugin because I had that idea in my head. It's not like I do tell my friend, it's not like I used and don't plug in actually. I love plugin. I love cleanliness. I love clean things. So I joined plugin because I had that in mind. I joined plugin in 200 level because I told myself I was going to participate in the NHEF Scholars Program. So I'm going to work together to ensure I do everything. I joined plugin. I joined the Green Child organization. So it was about sustainability. So I joined them all in the anticipation of this program because I was looking forward to NHEF Scholars Program in 2023. I'm sorry, 2024. I mean, in 2024, and I was telling myself, okay, so if I want to be a scholar, this is what I need. So I've mentioned your academics, leadership experience. I've mentioned volunteering, yes, and lastly, I will mention professional experiences. If there's any professional experience you feel you could get, as you are at home, you're currently on holiday, you can walk up to any firm and offer to give them service. This is something that you don't necessarily need that money. I know you need money. We all need money to survive, maybe data or anything. But right now, you are still depending on your parents or something. Why not walk up to one firm during this holiday? Use the opportunity, tell them you're ready to serve, drop a letter, and if they can accept you, even if it's a month or two, at least this is November. We still have November, December for this holiday. Do something, just do something that will make you to learn, something that in your mind you're having it in mind that you're going up for competition. It's keep getting highly competitive every year. The way it was competitive last year is not the same way it will be this year. As Abdulwahab stated earlier, we had over 1,000 applications during 2024, and then 2025 scholars had more than that. So of course 2026 is going to have more than that. So you have to up your game. You don't have to be nonchalant about it. Be very intentional about everything. Develop everything you feel it can come together to actually make your CV worthwhile. Something that you can write your head says about, because before you even submit your CV, you're writing stories based on your experiences, based on whatever you've done, based on things that you've done. In fact, start putting it to God in prayer. Yeah, that was one of the things I did when I saw people that applied for NHEF in 2023. I started praying about it. I was like, God, please, I really want this thing. Start making things that will make this opportunity click for me. And before you know, things started clicking, like things I did not even anticipate that it could even fall to my hands, started falling to my hands. So be very intentional about your preparation. Develop yourself academically, leadership wise, offer to volunteer, and yes, professionally. I think those are things that will make you stand out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy, for sharing those points with us. So, when you are doing your voluntary work services now, just know that okay, we are looking into the future to apply for NHEF program, whereby you will need your leadership skills, your academic skills, your voluntary skills. So, and also put God first. If you are a Christian, a Muslim, or whatever practices you are doing, make sure you put God into the process. So, I would like to call on Tijani to please okay, so people will be like NHEF is only for penultimate students. So and we have different departments which their courses offer. Some people 5 years, some people 6, 4. So can you please explain to us what this penultimate year means and which level does it cover depending on the department or course of study? Thank you.
All right, Bilkis, thank you so much for the question. And let me just pick it from where you've stopped. So there's a definition to penultimate, right? So penultimate to someone who's studying a 5-year course is quite different from, penultimate to someone who's studying a 4-year course. And let's say to someone who's studying a 6-year course, like the medical guys, their penultimate there is quite different from the engineering guys who are studying say 5-year course like that, you can continue to go around that side. So now, identifying a penultimate, as it relates to you, let's say you are studying a 4-year course. Now, what does penultimate mean to you? Penultimate means that a year before your final year. So let's say you're studying a 4-year course, like me now, who's from education now. My course is just a 4-year course. So now penultimate means a year before my final year. A year before my final year means the year I'll be in, 300 level. Now, for the guys in engineering and law, for instance, now their course is 5 years. So now, a year before their final year, that means their penultimate year is going to be 400 level. Well, yeah, that's when their penultimate year is going to be. And for the guys in the medical side, 6-year course, pharmacy, 6 years if I'm correct. I think ABU currently is running a PharmD program, even though they have a B Farm before. So the PharmD guys are going for 6 years, so which means penultimate around that side is going to be their 500 level. You understand? So that's where penultimate means for them. Now, let me just go to sorry, let me just go to a part that you didn't ask me, and which is what does penultimate means to NHF. Now, there is this a slight and a little of subjectivity when it comes to NHF. I just got a question on LinkedIn now from someone, and I would like to just address it via this medium since he's also on the call. All right. So ideally, NHF is meant for students in their penultimate year. But then sometimes, I don't know. I'm actually not the only one who noticed this. I believe Abdulwahab is on the call. Shakirat did as well too. And during our calls, we had someone who was a final year student. I think we have some final year guys like that, some from law and some from what's it called, engineering. Yeah, if I'm correct. uh, Prior to our course, I had a friend who was in 400 level, so who was in 300 level back then. He was a law student. He was in 300 level back then, not even in his penultimate year, but then he applied and then he got in. So now this is where it gets funny, and this is where the whole stuff gets complicating, right? Now, NHEF is meant for students in their penultimate year. Let me retrace that again. But then we've seen students in lesser level, let's say a level before their penultimate year, apply and they get into the program. And we've seen students, a level after their penultimate year, or say even their final year, they applied and they get into the program. And one thing, one common trend among the host stuff is most of the guys who have actually done this stuff and then it works for them are those guys around the southwest. All right. So I've not really had a conversation with them on how they are able to, do the whole stuff. And then I think I was able to have had a conversation with just one of them who got in, a law student who got in while he was 300 level. And what he told me was, okay, he said he was just able to sell himself, and then he pitched the idea of he was supposed to be in his penultimate year at that particular year, but because of the the COVID break of 2020 and the ASU strike of 2021 stopped him, and then NHEF was able to offer consideration around that side, and he made it into the program. Now, for the lady that came in during her final year, I don't know what the whole stuff is, but then I believe the bottom line or the bone of contention around this whole thing is going to be how you are able to sell yourself, how you are able to tell your story. All right. Now, for applications like this, there is usually a sort of what's it called, accommodation. All right. Now, accommodation in this particular instance refers to, okay, what's something that was supposed to happen but then did not happen and you want us to really consider you for, or what's something that happened but was not supposed to happen and you really want us to, okay, show you a level of mercy. All right. So if you are able to tell your story, if you're able to sell yourself, and if you're able to convince them that, okay, actually I know I'm in my final year, but then I was supposed to be in my penultimate year, but because my school gave me a double promotion, that was why I had to skip penultimate year to be in my final year. If you're able to tell your stories around that side, I believe you have your way to go around it. All right. And then okay, there's something I wanted to talk about again. All right. What's it called? I think I can't recall. Maybe when I remember later, I'm going to bring it in. So yeah, that's just it. Everything around that has to do with penultimate. So if you're a law student, and let me talk about the final year guys again that are always having their way. All right. You could be in your final year and then you still give NHEF your best shot. I think those that did it last year, they were screened out. But then during our courts, people did it and then it worked for them. So I just can't really recall I can't really pick up what's actually working for some people, but based on my interaction with someone who got in a year before his penultimate, he was able to sell the idea of, okay, COVID delayed me, I was supposed to be in my penultimate year. And it worked for him and he was able to make his way into the program. And then after which he graduated 2 years after. So yeah, that's it for the penultimate side of everything. I don't know if I answer your question, Bilikis. And if I do not, perhaps you would want me to shed more light, then you can just let me know about that. Thank you.
Yes, you did. You answered it very well, and I'm very sure those of us that are not in our penultimate year can also give it a shot. Who knows? You might be choosing as the next scholar for 2026. So our next scholar that will be calling on is Esther Istifanus. Please, I would like you to walk us through how your interview process was. Just share with us how it was, and so we can relate what we are to expect coming next year.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, from the previous scholars that spoke, actually as you progress with your application, the first interview, that's the first round of interviews, and then there's the second round of interviews. So, the first round of interviews comes immediately after the cognitive test. I think during my time, it was a day after I wrote my cognitive test. That was when I got the invite for the first round of interview. And how it works is that you'll be the one to schedule, the days that you want to write the interview. There are like different days and different hours for you to choose from. So the first round of interview is more of like a behavioral interview. They want to understand the way you think, your thought process, and all of that. They'll ask you questions like, tell me about a time when you had a challenge and how did you go about it. As they just want to, they're not really looking for like the perfect answer you get. There's no right answer, there's no correct answer. Whenever they're asking you questions, they just want to understand, they want to get to know you. They want to know, okay, what has this person done? What has this person achieved? You get, and then there was something that one of the scholars mentioned about
sharing your unique experiences and all of that. One of the scholars mentioned how it's important for you to volunteer to different programs, whether it's plugging or whatever. I think one thing that I feel like is very crucial is that it should not be about, okay, I did this, I did that. Yes, quite all right. There are going to be lots of people that will apply for the program that are qualified. I mean, there are people that will tell you that you've interned at KPMG, they've done this, they've done that. I think what the NHEF program is looking for actually is not about what you have done, but what made you do what you do? Is it something that you're passionate about? If you volunteered for plugging and all of that, is it something that you're passionate? Are you passionate about the environment? You get what I'm trying to say? It's not about, okay, yes, I did this, I did that, all and all and all. And yes, if you did all of that, who did it impact? Did it have any positive impact on anybody? So they are going to ask you questions around that. Like they want to get to know, like, okay, what have you done? What have you achieved? Who did it have an impact on? You get what I'm trying to say? So for the first round of interviews, just want to get to know, they want to understand you more beyond your essays and all of that. They want to see, okay, this person, like, who are they? Like, do they really have these leadership qualities in them? Do they really have these, like, do they have what it takes to actually be global leaders and all of that? So I think for my first round of interview, I was interviewed by the VP for strategic partnerships and development or something like that. So for that first part of the interview, actually, I was kind of like a bit confident. I don't want to say like I was very, very like nervous and all of that, but I was a bit more confident compared to the second interview. And for my interviewer, actually, she was someone that was very, very chill. Like she liked stories and all of that. I remember I was like gisting her literally. And towards the end of the interview, she herself, she was like, she really enjoyed the interview. And then she told me that like she didn't even want the interview to end. I think it was the interviews were supposed to be like 30 minutes interview, but mine lasted for almost an hour and all of that because my interviewer was like like
Sorry, Esther, I can't hear you from my
she was
end.
feeling
Okay, I can hear you now.
this. And then in my mind, I was like, yeah, like my ability to listen, I can't even remember ever having such to be like very, very confident. I think your ability to like remain chill and calm and speak with confidence is also counts. And then towards the end of the interview, she actually made a comment because during the interview, I think there was an issue with like my network or is it on her own part? I can't really remember. Saying that she likes to be, in spite of the fact that we're having interview. This is the interview that determines if you actually get into the program. So for you to pass the first round of interview, it means that okay, they see that you're good, you're capable, you can actually get into the program. So the second round of interview is the more vigorous interview. Like it's not going to be the one that they just ask you chill, calm question and sit and wait for you to listen. I remember my interviewer, it was Miss Claire. I was actually quite fortunate. I never got Mr. Juan, and I think I thank God for that anyway. So for me, my interview with Miss Claire was actually, well, for me, I made a mistake when I was giving her my elevator speech, and I really regret that. For my elevator speech, while I was talking towards the end, and then I kind of got carried away, and I said, "Yeah, that's it." And the woman was she instantly got offended. She was like, "Why would you say that? This is an interview." Like, and then in that moment, like my confidence level just went down, but I just decided to stay calm. You get. So they'll ask you like more, like the kind of questions they'll ask you. They'll not ask you the one of tell me about a time, this. They'll ask you brain teasers, like questions that will confuse you. You sit down and think about where they got that question from. I will never forget. They asked me this question. They asked me if can go through while someone by cat cannot go through. What is the reset like? What is the context behind this question? Like these are the questions they will ask you. They ask to bring teasers. They just want you. I don't think it's important for them for you to like give a correct answer. They just want to see your thought process and they want to see how you're confident when you're answering like difficult questions. You get what I'm trying to say? So for the second part of the interview, it's going to be very serious, very vigorous, and all of that. But then you just have to learn how to remain calm and answer the questions very, very, very well. And then yes, don't forget your STAR approach. Exactly, the STAR approach is the best, by far the best way to answer any behavioral questions and all of that. We all know the STAR approach. It stands for situation, task, action, and then what was the result and all of that. I think that's something that you should really learn how to answer questions based on that particular formula. And then, so yeah, I think for the second part of the interview, the final round of the interview, they will also ask you business case questions. They want to see how you would tackle like a real life problem in the workplace. They want to check your level of professionalism and all of that, how you respond to emergencies, how you relate with senior staff and all of that. So yeah, that's basically it. And I hope that I was able to answer your question. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Esther, for walking us through the interview process. I'm sure you people jotted things down, not that you are just listening, you are jotting. Like those clubs you join, those society you join, what made you join the clubs? What impact are you trying to create by joining the club? So in order to wrap up this section, I would call on Abdulwahab to share with us what to give us an insight on NHEF. Yes, Esther has walk us through the interview process. Just to add to what Esther said, the NHEF interview questions and what they are looking for in the person, the assessment. If you can share with us. Yes, question and answer time will come. Ahmad, please kindly let
Yeah,
us finish this section. Abdulwahab, you can go ahead, please.
yeah. So you see, yeah. So basically, for me, I always like to keep things very, very simple and straightforward, right? So the basic thing is I just need to have a lot of lambda to talk. So that's basically it, right? So and for you to be able to do that, you must get yourself involved in a lot of things because they are also very, very good at catching bullshit. So imagine, okay, having yourself on the interview, and then they ask you to tell them about a time when you were in a team, and then someone in that team was not maybe living up to their responsibility and whatever, and then how were you able to go about it? So trust me, it's not about you come and say, well, I would first message the person, I would now tell the person what is happening, and then eventually, look, that's not what they want. They want to see you tell them that you've actually experienced something like that before, because they know that if you have involved yourself in a lot of extracurriculars, you would have encountered something like that. So they want to see something around, there was a time when I was, you give a narrative of something that happened along that line. So, and that's where I know, most of the scholars here have spoken about something related. I know Esther spoke about the STAR approach. You guys should check that out. And I also know that in the subsequent sessions that are going to follow, there will be a lot of deep dive around, how to go about some of these things. So, but again, I always like to keep things very simple, right? So, all you need to get yourself, and that is why I think this particular session is scheduled for now. so that if you feel like you don't have certain things ready, you are able to prepare before next year. Because again, I think because of the numbers NHF are getting, they kind of are shifting the opening date of the application. They are shifting it upwards. So I know it used to be late February, March, it became February, and then who knows, next year it could be January. So the only time you have to prepare is definitely going to be within the break. So, and I probably would share some, hacks in the 2-3 minutes I have to answer this question. So the interview, Esther has done a lot of justice to that, right? So, but again, as I said, the most important thing, if you want to ace your interviews, regardless of who is it your interviewer is, even if it's Juwon, as everybody is shouting, even if it's Juwon, if you get yourselves involved in a lot of things, you have a lot of lamba to talk that you are going to back up. So that's just the honest truth. So, and again, just to keep things very simple, NHF are just for 4 things. They are just for 4 things: education, professional experience, extracurriculars, community service. So now, create a sheet, outline these 4 things, break them down, and then have a checklist. For education, you have little control over it. If you are not writing a 5.00 or crazy CGPA or a strong 4 points, you don't have control over that before January when the application is going to open, right? So if you are not writing a crazy CGPA of 4.9, 4.8, first class, or a strong 2-1, it means that if you want to compete favorably, you have to match up in other areas. Be the person that has the most work experience, be the person that is, most impactful when it comes to community service, or be the person that, is most impactful when it comes to leadership or extracurriculars. So that's just the game. You just have to be unique. Because you see, the competition is very stiff and crazy. When you look at the stat, over the last couple of years that they've started taking 100 people, you'll see that Ibadan and Lagos, as Unilag and University of Ibadan alone, contribute about 65% of the total pool. So imagine Ibadan having like 30-something scholars, University of Lagos having like 30-something scholars, and then the rest is now shared between Insuka, Port Harcourt, BUK, and ABU. So there are years when, from Port Harcourt, you just have like 3 people. From ABU, you just have like maybe, 11, 10, regardless. So it's easier for people down south because, again, they have access to information and they've gotten their hands dirty in a lot of these things to have that competitive edge over you. And cost-wise, it's still, less expensive for NHF to sponsor someone in University of Lagos than to sponsor someone from BUK or ABU, for instance, because they are paying for your round-trip flight, right? So basically, you want to be unique and you want to be able to say a lot of things. So, and I think the question that everybody must answer is to first ask themselves, why are you unique? And that's one thing that would eventually come to feature even in your application when you come to write those essays. So what is unique about you? And what is that drive that has made you so competitive when compared to other 1,400 or 1,500 people that are going to apply, right? So very briefly, for education, you might not be able to do a lot regardless. I mean, you just have some months. You've already written your second semester exams. So even if you want to do an academic comeback, that's not possible now, right? So what you have control over are the 3 other things: experience, extracurriculars, community service, right? So if you trust me, if you do a lot of these things, you have a lot of things to say on the interview, and you have a lot of things to write when it comes to your essay. And trust me, just not to make things sound very, very simple, you crack your head for weeks before you are able to put in a good essay. You write essays of 200 or 150 words, and you are writing like 8 different essays, all asking you different questions. So if you have not gotten yourself into, a lot of these things, trust me, everything will just be looking like the same question for you. So if you ask a question and you'll be like, yeah, I've just answered something like this now. How do you want me to write another 200 words on another separate topic? So, but if you have gotten yourself into a lot of these things, you will even have to be, doing back and forth with AI around reducing your word count because you have probably exceeded what you are even asked to write. So that's the honest truth. So, as I said, education, you have little control over that. That's your academic CGPA and the likes, right? So now for experience, we are in November. So you have November, December, right? So I know for most people now, if they have their CV is going to be empty in a way because probably they don't have a lot of things to put in it, right? So, and for some, again, they feel experience when they say professional experience, like it's something that is far-fetched. That I mean, I'm not in Lagos, or I'm not in Abuja, or I'm not in Port Harcourt. How do I get to intern with a firm that will now qualify as a work experience? So there are hacks around this thing. There are remote roles that you can do. There are unpaid, gigs. I mean, unpaid, work experience that you can gain. There are a lot of things that you could do, and they will serve as work experience that you have on your CV that will make you competitive, right? So I know this particular session is more finance specific, though I can see that we have people from engineering and law and a couple of other places. So, and again, I think this is something we all missed when we started. So there are six or five tracks that you are potentially going to apply to. So there is the finance track, for people interested in private equity, investment management, finance, everything finance. So, and there is the tech track, for people in probably engineering or in finance or anywhere that feel they have advantage in tech and they are interested in tech and they are passionate about it. And then there is the law track. I mean, this, no matter how passionate you are about law track, if you are not in law, there is nothing you can do to that. I'm sorry. So, and then there is the engineering track, right? So this one too, for people in engineering. So finance, tech, law, engineering. And then you have the consulting track as well. So for people interested in consulting, so it could be health consulting, it could be in as much as it's answering consulting. So, and then you have, I think HR, yeah, you have something related to HR as a track. So now I know for some people, they might be like, okay, I'm a student of education, or I'm a student of medicine, where do I fit into? So the simple question is, though they are not really big on the tracks, but apparently the track you are going to choose is going to also determine how you sell yourself. So you can't say, for instance, want to go for law track because you are a law student, and then everything you are saying is around being passionate about finance and doing stuff in finance, right? So how you contextualize your uniqueness and your selling point and your lamba in quotes has to do with the track you are applying to. So if you're in medicine, you could decide to apply for consulting or tech, for instance, and then you kind of create a niche around that for yourself, depending on what you want to do. So, but that's by the way, right? So back to how you can quickly get some things on your CV before January or February when the application will come up. So starting with the easiest things. You see, community service, this is the easiest number to sell, right? And you have to be very big about it. And you have to be also professional about it. So remember someone saying that they were part, I think it's Dolabo, right? That she was part of a girl child team and then she connected it to SGG5. So it's not enough for you to say you have been. You see, you can have people that have done real stuff, but if they don't know how to cook, how to sell it, you see, someone reviewing your AC or application might not see the way you feel you've done something, right? So you must be able to see the bigger picture, align them to your long-term growth and objectives, right? And then, say it the way it would sound very nice. So that's the art of cooking. And probably that could be, a more detailed, there will be more detailed conversation around that in subsequent sessions. So now for community service, it could be via normal associations in school, right? So plug in one of the easiest way. Just follow them, even if you don't believe in environmental sustainability. Follow them, go and pick debt and put it that you have done cleaning of debt. At least it will enter your CV, and then you connect it to all the number around SDGs. That's a very easier kill for you. If you are someone that is at home for now, and then you feel you still need to have something, just create a tutorial, whatever, for JAMB or WAEC. Just do something. Because trust me, a question on it will come up, and then you'll be asked to write about it in your ACs. That's even the application stage. And eventually, when you come to do interview, they will still ask you questions around those things. So if you're able to do these things, it's easy kill for you. You just talk about them. And you have to also be able to quantify stuffs, right? So it's not enough for you to say, I organize a jump tutorial for people in my area. You have to go beyond that. how many are they, what was the impact, stuff like that. You have to be able to quantify them in measurable terms. So that's for community service. If you don't have anything at the moment, try and get something. Help people. Do something, like no matter how small it is. Shall do it. Eventually, when you come to writing the essay, you will learn how to cook. So, but for now, get your hands dirty. Do something. Get into TIS, get into AITA, get into any society or association or Aluta, whatever, and then try and do something. Get yourself, get your hands dirty with something, so that when eventually time comes, and unfortunately you don't really have time to do much now. It's just 2 months, but you can still do a lot in 2 months, right? And these are the kind of things that will enter your CV. So that's for community service. So for extracurriculars, there's a thin line actually. There's a thin line between extracurriculars and community service, right? So community service, you will be big on the impact. You've been able to impact on others, right? While for extracurriculars / leadership, you want to be able to say you've led teams, right? You've been able to do something. You've been able to actively think, create vision for, objectives or plans, and then, action it. So, and again, you have, in fact, now you have more clubs, more societies, more active clubs, more active societies in the school than before. Is it TIS? Is it AITA? Is it the normal Aluta stuffs? The SRC, your NESA, your NWASA, your ABUMSA, all those stuffs. Or, the inactus of this world, everything they are there. If you are in law, you have them plenty. All those chambers, right? So get yourself in one of these things. Do something qualitative. Just be part of a team. Think out something, and then be able to sell it eventually when the time comes. That's for extracurricular. So now for work experience, I know this is something that most people will be saying, well, I don't have a work experience. People won't hire me. So you see, you have to be very smart about these things, right? So if you are not in Lagos, where you feel like people in Lagos have advantage over you, or in Abuja, for instance, you still have some play around this. So when they say professional experience generally, it could be broken down into 2 major things. You have certifications or courses, and then you have the real work experience, right? So another third thing you could add is even project. So when you know that a certain thing is a disadvantage, then you consolidate on what is your advantage. There are online courses, plenty of them. Do as many as possible before January. There are courses, go to Coursera, there are a lot of them, right? So do these courses, have them on your CV to now buttress why you are really, in fact, passionate about those tracks you want to. You can't tell me that you are passionate about finance and then I can't say anything related to finance in your CV or in your story or in your essay, right? So now is the time for you to go on Coursera, to go on LinkedIn, to go on all these edtech platforms, and then do a course, do a couple, do plenty, right? So if you say you are not in Lagos and you can't work, nobody is stopping you from taking courses, right? So take as much as possible courses you can, and then there are projects too. So I know for people that are interested in tech, for instance, if it's software engineering, full stack, front end, back end, whatever, you could work on projects. If it is data analytics or data science, there are projects you could work on, right? So, and if you're in finance, you could do an equity research project, you could do a startup valuation, a lot of things you could do, right? So have projects. So because if it comes to discussing work experience and then you don't really have a formal work experience, as in working in a firm, you would have other things to speak about. You have the courses to say, okay, I was able to engage in this course and these are what I learned from the course. And then, again, I was able to work on this project and this are the skills I was able to develop. So like these are core things that will kind of make you stand out if you feel you are disadvantaged when it comes to location. And trust me, for most of us, I personally grew up in a place where the closest thing that was to a corporate whatever are filling stations or bakeries, or at best, bank branches. So that is not an excuse. And I had like 4 or so work experiences even when I applied for NHEF. And what I did was, okay, I would go online. There are tech platforms that gives work experiences, and it's free, though it's unpaid. You get your hands dirty, you work on projects under supervision. That counts as a work experience. You have it there. There are just simulation that you could do. Even if it doesn't enter as work experiences, enter under maybe guided project or something. A lot of things you could do. And before you know, before January or February next year when you would apply, you would even start adjusting the margin of your Word document to fit in your CV into one page. So that's the whole essence. For extracurriculars, you could have like maybe 2 solid work experiences. For work experience, even if it's 1, 2, you have 4. certifications, you have like 3, 4. Like, these are what would just make you stand out. That's what you tap into. And then eventually, after you do all these things, you now, contextualize them to what is unique to you, right? Because that's what NHF want to see. They want to see why they should choose you over the 1,400 people that have applied. So how is it? So you can't just come and say something generic. If it's courses, plenty of people have done plenty courses. If it's work experience, plenty of people have work experience, right? Certifications, everything you can think of. For CGPA, some people are writing crazy CGPA. So, but how is it unique? How is it unique to you? That's the most important thing. So that's some of these are like hacks that you could go online to do for work experience. There are job simulations, there are projects you could take, there are courses you could take that could count for your professional experience. For extracurriculars, just get into something. For community service, do something. So I think I'll stop here very, very quickly. But again, just to reiterate, NHF is very competitive. And if you want to get in, you must just tap into what is unique about you, whilst also showing them that you've come a long way in terms of being clear and active and aggressive about your professional and career growth. So that's just it.
Thank you very much, Abdulwahab, for giving us that in-depth analysis on what NHF is all about. And just so you know, guys, when Abdulwahab is saying Ramba, he's not asking you to lie. He's not asking you to cook what you don't know how to cook. And when he say get your hands dirty, he's not asking you to put your hands inside the gutter. So I'm sure you understand that very well. Okay, for those of us that made mention of expectations, I'm very sure that you guys have gotten answers to what you are expecting. Your expectations have been met, and if you have questions, now is the time for you to raise your electronic ends up so we can take one or two questions before we end this call. And also, when they were talking about some people not having anything on their CV, not knowing how to go about it, this is just to tell you that this section that we are having is a 3-week section. So that means another section is coming up next weekend. So get yourself prepared for next weekend, and you know that this section is like well detailed, so you shouldn't expect anything less in the next section, and I'm very sure that you will get more than what you got this night. So I'll be going first with Ismail, you can unmute your mic to ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. So, like, I'm not a member of CHIS, but hopefully I'll be a member very soon. So I am very, very glad to be part of this session, starting from the beginning to the end, and hearing my mentors, those people I look up to that I've never seen them speaking, talking about great things, how NHEF was and all of that. I really appreciate, and may God reward you all. So my question is, you talk about test, the cognitive test, the aptitude test, and one of the scholars said there was one manual that was given to them to prepare for the test, and when they were eventually when they were to do the test became like it was simpler than they expected. So, is there any way we can get that manual or that arc to prepare for us to pending the time? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ismail. Your question is well noted, and for the manual, yes, I'm very sure for our TIS members that will be preparing for the NHF Scholar next year, everything will be provided for them, from the manual to how to apply, and the processes we will share with them. And also for the manual, it will be shared in some of the groups, yes, like the Symposium 1.0 group and also Symposium 2.0 group. Okay, so Sheriff, you can unmute your mic to ask your question.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So we're very, very grateful, actually, first and foremost, for this great session. It's been very, very insightful, and very grateful to all our scholars and our mentors, actually. So since definitely we'll be having lots of sessions, lots of questions will be coming after them. But then something I really want to get to know, especially on the interview aspect. I think Esther made mention of the interviews, about the kind of questions they ask and what they want to actually know. So, but basically, I want Abdulwahab and if Esther is still on the call to please answer this question for me. Because I know Abdulwahab said a lot about packaging your lambas and like things you have actually done. And Esther also made mention of kind of like they want to know what you have done, right? And I'm linking it to three speakers and also what Joyce said. She made mention of something like she kind of like used and done plugin. I will not say I'm trying to do that actually, but basically, right? The basic reason why I joined plugin was in, let me say, in preparation for NHEF actually. Not, I won't say I don't like environmental sustainability and everything, but that's like the whole, should I say, vision or mission, anyhow it is, right? So my question now is that during the interview stages, you know, they kind of like, okay, they ask you, why do you join this? I think you made mention of that, like, why do we join these things? Like, it's not just about being there, like, why are you there? Like, can we be brutally honest? Like, is this something I can just tell my interviewer, like, okay, like, basically, I joined plugin because of I'm looking forward to join NHEF, right? Basically, that's what, because to be brutally honest, that's why I'm there, right? Or do we still have to repackage some of these stuff like food lumber? I love environmental sustainability. That is how I've been brought up and stuff. Or let's just go with the flow.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, and I'm sure Wahab will note that question and will answer together with other question. But to just buttress on that point, when they are saying that you should say, don't, like, that is what Wahab is talking about. When you are doing lamba, it's not something that you cannot say you did or you did not do. Yes, it's something you did. Just Dolapo said the word magnify it. Share you get, so you just have to magnify it. You can't magnify what you did not do. So that is where the lamba comes in. Okay, Nazir, you can unmute your mic so to ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much for this wonderful session. I would like to appreciate CIS also the speakers for it. Sorry, Esther, she mentioned the second interview stage when she was talking about something about the type of question they will ask. Why she was speaking, I guess maybe her network got issue, which made us not hear what she says. So please guide us, help us with the interview questions again, Esther. Thank you.
Okay, Esther, if you are still on the call with us, kindly note that one of the questions you talked about why walking us through the interview process. So the next person to unmute their mic is Raima. Raima, kindly unmute your mic to ask your question. Raima, are you still on the call with us?
Of course. Good evening, everybody. So grateful to be part of this meeting. So my question is the work experience Mr. Abdulwahab was talking about, and he was saying that there are some apps that there are some courses you can write. They'll give you this experience instead of going to work with those people. So I did not get the courses he was talking about. I didn't think he was specific about it. So I want him to be specific. Maybe like write them down for us. Thank you.
All right, Abdullah, please kindly note Raima's question, also the courses to take, and I think that would depend on the track we want to go on for the NHEF program. Okay, before the last question, we are going to call on Godwin to ask his question, then we'll take the last question.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege being here. Thank you so much for organizing such a program to enlighten us. Now, my question goes to, let's say, all of them, but then particularly Abdulwahab. Now, for some that the will I say path in the NHF, where the career, and then we have law, engineering, and then management, finance, and the rest. For students that are not in any of these categorized departments, now, apart from education, general students, what other place can one actually put his interest and then have a niche on that very particular area? If you are not in management science, neither engineering or law, or maybe education, what other area can you actually look into and then put in your best? And because your work experience had to go in line, and then how to create your CV to suit into. So if you're not like inclined to that, how do you, or now that we are actually running out of time, so what can one do to actually scale up to be able to um, to Esther, even though my network knocked me out. But then in the interview, there's this thing they usually say, they'll just say, tell us about yourself. Now, how can you just at one glance be able to give that kind of prompt answer, not to get fizzled out by your interviewer and then just get tired of you and you just be answering something different? What they ask you is another thing. So the composure to answer like a prompt question when the question is asked. And lastly, for some of these aluta kind of workshop that you go for 1 day program and they give you certificate, is it also applicable in NHF? Like for CV, you construct and then put it inside. Is it also applicable? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Godwin, for your questions, and I'm sure those that the questions are directed to have notes down the questions. The last person that will give the chance to ask question will be Yeshu. Yeshu, you can unmute your mic.
Good evening, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
So I don't actually have a question. I just want to let you know that after this session, probably in a few days' time, I actually recorded this session. So it will be available for those who want to go through it in order to benefit. So for those who miss and those who did not take their notes properly, I'll have it available maybe in a few days' time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That is a great one from you. Thank you very much. It's really appreciated. So, to our scholars on the call, before I call on Wahab to answer the questions, based on what Godwin said about not being in a particular department, I'm sure NHF is not attached to a particular department. People from various departments can apply. Even one of our scholars is from education, so that is not a barrier to apply for NHEF program. So I will give the floor to our scholars from Abdulwahab to other scholars that want to contribute their points also. We have less than 15 minutes to end this call.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Bilikis. So there are plenty questions, but I'll try and just answer as quick as possible, and probably harmonize those ones that look similar. So so just to begin. So you see, one thing that is just primary in whatever it is you want to apply to is that you need to know what that particular organization is looking for in a candidate, right? So the moment you answer that question, you are like halfway there. So, and that is what I have been able to outline for you earlier, and what virtually all the scholars have been saying is academics, is it's extracurriculars, it's it's the community service, and then it's your professional experience. So now, whatever it is you want to see on your interview or write in your thesis, right? In the context of these 4 things, you have to tie them into what is it NHF want to see in a scholar. Remember, NHF are for building youths today that will become leaders tomorrow. So, and what underpins this particular mission or vision is simply the fact that they want to see clarity in what you do. So, and they want to see the energy you have to strive. And that is why you notice that someone might be writing 4.9 with work experiences and everything, but wouldn't get in. And someone that doesn't even have any work experience, because they are probably good, they have probably been able to show clarity and drive, will now get in. So this is very important, right? So, and again, based on the pattern of research that has happened over a couple of years, NHF are fond of doing things unique every year. So one thing they've been consistently doing for the past couple of years is increasing participation of people in health sciences, right? So, they don't have a health track yet, though they have a doctor's program separate. But it seems like they kind of are passionate about people coming from that health perspective. So if you are coming from health, you probably have some advantage. So all you need to do is leverage that initial advantage and then show some clarity and value, right? So that's for that. So to quickly answer what Sheriff asked around, could he just be blunt? Look, when I say lamba or cooking, it's simply about tying what you do, tying it to what is expected of you to say, right? So now you've joined plugin, right? And basically, you know that NHF are for community service, right? And they are also for having youths that will become leaders of tomorrow. So it's just an easy kill for you. How you answer this question is simply around cooking. Then when I say cooking, it will be around, okay, you start with a problem, right? It could be around, okay, northern Nigeria is bedeviled with so tons of whatever that is now causing flooding in this and that, and so number of people are dying annually. This is cooking and lumber, right? So the moment you say this, you now touch on that is in fact what drove you to join plugin ABU, where you've been able to contribute to cleaning so tons or kilograms of debt. So you can see how you are linking things together. So it's not just about just going straight to say, I've joined plugin and we are cleaning the school. What's the value in that, right? So start with a big problem, align it with what you did and what is the drive or passion behind what you did, and then you combine everything together to say that is in fact why you are also contributing your little quota to this. So you can see how perfectly this comes out and how they would in fact know that, well, this particular person is particular about their career growth, and this particular person is in fact very clear about what they want to become. So now it means that the 1 million naira or so that they will spend on your head, or 1.5 that will spend on your head in just a week, is going to materialize into something spectacular in the future. So the future leader they want to build. So you have to be able to connect things. So when I say cooking, this is what it means. So again, don't go and cook and burn the kitchen. Because we say cooking now, you go and start packing things that are not sensible. You are just a student. There are things that can never happen to you as a student, right? You don't want to come and say a lot of things that are not it, right? So, but the thing, like, on a more serious note now, is that you want to be able to connect things. You want to see that clarity in you and to see how you are able to offer value in that regard, right? So this is it for the clarity. So, so for the experience now, very quickly, you see, a lot of you have work experiences that you don't know that you have. You stay in your mom's shop. It's an experience. You only need to put it in a good way. It could be, budget officer. Probably you are the one managing inflow and outflow of something. Cook it well. Say, okay, you've been able to manage certain, millions or thousands of monthly inflow or outflow. That is an experience, right? Or, now you don't have any experience. Just go collect one service letter or recommendation letter from your department. Go to anywhere you are. If there is NEPA, if there is any organization, FIRS, all those organizations that even don't function well, shall go, give them. Tell them that you are from school and you want to come and do IT or CIRS. They will give you 1 month or 2 months. So now when you are there, even if you don't learn, ask questions, know processes, know how they do things. And then eventually when you come to write those 2 solid bullets in your CV, you are able to write something that is very, very critical and important, right? So imagine you are in Zaria now, you could do AB Micro. So now I know this is heavily financed, right? So you could do AB Microfinance Bank. Go there, they are not really doing much, but at least an experience is better than no experience. And there is something we call transferable skills, right? So if you teach in a place, So if you teach in a place, right, so there are experiences that you are able to develop there that could also be transferred to this particular track you want to. Okay, it could be how you are able to become eloquent when it comes to presentation, or how you are able to become detailed with whatever. So a lot of things you could do. You just have to think outside the box and get things done. So regarding courses, so courses are not work experience, right? But they are also part of those things that will make you stand out. Coursera offers a lot of courses, and then you have financial aid that will even make you get certification. But even if it is auditing that you did, meaning you just go through a course, but because it's paid, you are unable to probably get a certificate. It still counts as something. You can put it in your CV, right? It's not as if they will ask for a certificate. So, but you have to be able to defend it. If I say I was able to undertake a course on financial market on Coursera, what it means is that anybody that sees that on my CV should be able to expect me to say a lot of things around financial markets, right? If I say I'm able to take a course around public health, I should be able to say a lot of things around public health. So there are, if you go online, we could create a list after the call and share, right? So for online work experiences, if you're interested in data science, data analytics, there is Hamoye. They do a 4-month internship. I think they do it twice in a year, right? So you're able to work on solid projects under supervision. There is Extern. Extern do a couple of topics, externships around consulting, around finance, around tech, and a couple of other things, right? So you could check these things up. They could be competitive, but there are also things that you could do easily. So I'm just saying, you just have to think outside the box. There are a lot of things that you could do, even in your local environment. Just get yourself into something, do something. A work experience is better than no work experience. And it's not as if they are seeking someone that is perfect, right? You just want to see that potential and drive in you, right? So that's around courses and this thing. So now for people that don't have a track, maybe you are in education or you are in medicine and you feel you don't have any track here. So an easier way out for you is consulting. So basically, what does it mean? You are solving problem. That's what consulting means. So create something. It could be entrepreneurship that you are into. It could be whatever. Just align it with the fact that you are interested in solving problem. Businesses, governments, whatever it is that is your niche. Just write something. So because if you're not interested in finance, you can't put finance. If you're not a tech person, you can't put tech. Law and engineering are already, very, very direct and explicit to people with that background. And then HR is for people in probably HR or management, or if you're interested in HR, right? So the only track that is left for you is consulting. And by the way, they're not really big on these tracks. So, but what they want to see is that whatever it is you choose, they want to be able to see that you align most of those things you are saying to those things, right? So that's for that. So very quickly. So finally, Aluta certificates. So you see, the thing is, time and time again, I've always said this. It's not about what you did that matters, right? It's about how you are able to present it. Okay, SRC organized a leadership conference, and after we finished a day stuff, we were given certificate. Say, for instance, I don't have some legit stuffs on my CV, and it now becomes imperative for me to actually put that. What do? I think about it. Say, for instance, in the session, they brought on board someone, right, that spoke about how, the current problem of Nigeria is leadership, and because of that, Nigeria is in where it is today, and then he gave some. So when I write that certificate, and when I come to write my AC, I allude to it and I say, look, in fact, my passion to joining so club or society in order to build these qualities or these skills is as a result of a certain, word of advice I was given in a certain conference organized by. A lot of things you can see. Like, it's just about how you see it. So, but most importantly, how you go about it depends on how you connect what you think you have with you, or what you think you will do within the break before the application opens, to the goals and objectives of NHF, right? So this is so plenty, the questions, but I will have to stop here so that other people are able to also answer their part of the questions. And hopefully in the subsequent sessions that we have 2 more, I guess. There will be much more deep dive in some of these questions and some of these key areas, like how to write the essays, how to write a compelling CV or cover letter, and the likes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdulwahab. I'm sure you've covered all the questions that have been asked by the participants, and in the comment sections we have more time to ask questions on how to craft our CV, write a cover letter that stands out. And this will be the end of our conversation tonight. Hoping to see you all next week, and I'm sure you will invite your friends to be on this call next week because you don't want to miss out next week's sections. I'm sure if you are to ask us, okay, do you have a CV? Some people are saying they don't know how to create a LinkedIn account. Everything will be discussed next week. So do enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a good night. Good night, everyone.